Hi, this video is for both parents and students that are looking to study for the retakes that are coming up on Thursday, and I want to walk you through the resources that are available on Google Classroom. So first, you need to log into Google Classroom with your student's username and password. If for some reason you can't get that from them, you can let me know and I will email it to you or give it to you over the phone. Once they're logged in, you want them to filter just on expressions and equations, which is our current topic. Doing so will only show those topics. So if you scroll to the very bottom or just drag down to the very bottom, that's going to be the very first resource that the students got for this topic. And as you scroll up, you will get closer and closer to the current time period. So this is a little bit difficult if a student's behind and they need to go back. It's not the easiest way to look at resources. So I'm also working on a spreadsheet that has them in order of a student that's trying to go back and catch up. So just to recap what we've done in equations and expressions in trimester 2, this is where we left off. We looked at vocabulary for expressions, variables, evaluating, simplifying, what those mean, and we really worked on simplifying expressions and using the distributive property. So I spent some time going through and dropping in these resources here, so you can take a look through those. I recommend going through those for anyone that is still trying to retake the first solving equations quiz, because that means you probably are struggling with some of the vocabulary or some of the basics. So I recommend going back through these resources here, which you can also find in Google Classroom by working backwards. So here's the very first thing that we looked at, vocabulary practice. And then as I scroll up, you can see the different resources we've used. And some of these I don't recommend going back and looking at, but you can if you would like. So this was all trimester 2, and we ended trimester 2 with a quiz on simplifying expressions. So that was the last thing. So I'm going to scroll up quite a bit, and here you can see the very first thing we have on solving equations. Solving one-step equations is a 6th grade concept. For 7th grade, it's solving two-step equations. So that's why we start with two-step here. Going back to the spreadsheet that I made, I haven't quite finished dropping in all the resources for solving equations, but the most important ones are here already. That would be the notes, which you can get here, and the notes look like this. This is a great place to start if you're working on solving equations. So it has all of our vocabulary. It has examples on evaluating expressions or equations. We did some reflections in class, and then there's also notes on solving equations. Other good resources are these, this video here and a check-in that we did in class. So check-ins are not quizzes. They are things that we go over in class and I leave comments or score them or talk about what's incorrect versus correct, but they're not part of your student's grade. Okay, I also have a video from Khan Academy going over why do you need to get the variable on one side when you're solving an equation, and why do you need to do the same operation on both sides of the equation. So that's helpful. That would be a good one to use. And then if you are working on a retake for solving equations with rational numbers, which is the second quiz, and I don't recommend focusing on this unless you have already mastered solving equations with just integers. That would be whole numbers that are positive and negative. So then you can move on to solving equations that now have rational numbers, which do include fractions and mixed numbers. And decimals, but those are usually less challenging for students. Usually it's the fractions that are really hard. So there's our introduction video and a practice video. And again, I'm grabbing that straight from Google Classroom, and I'm going to keep adding resources, but I wanted to get you something that you could start with right away. So I'm just going to quickly scroll up and go over in Google Classroom, if you're using this to find resources, what some of these are. So here was one of our first check-ins on solving two-step equations. That could be a good resource. And again, here are the notes, which have solving equations. We have another check-in. Here, if you or your student likes Khan Academy, here's some more solving equations videos you can use for practice. And actually, let me walk you through what Khan Academy looks like and how it works if you are using this to get some extra help.
Isn't enough. We could just remove.
Pause this. So the way it works is these play signs here on the left show that there's videos, whereas the stars are practice. So sometimes it's nice to jump right into practice to see if this is at the level that you should be working on. If you know how to do this and you get it right, you can go ahead and move on to the next tutorial, which is shown down here on the bottom. If this is challenging and you're stuck, it will refer you back to the video, or you can ask for a hint and... Oh, they want you to use a video for this one. So they do want you to go back and use the video. But if you need to go back even further, because this is confusing, you can even go back by going up to here, 7th grade expressions, equations, and inequalities. And let's say, okay, we weren't ready to start solving yet. Solving is all the way down here. I'm going to go back up and maybe remember, what does an expression mean? What does the variable mean? How do I show different operations with my variables and constants and coefficients? So you can go backwards, and these are the things we were learning in trimester 2. So that's how Khan Academy works. Jump back to Google Classroom real quick. I do have quite a bit of class pictures from work we've done in class that you can see how students should be showing their work. And those will all be correct ones. If you're looking for going over something that has an answer, you can use those. Here's another video tutorial with solving equations with rational numbers. And then you'll see things that say quiz and quiz retake. If your student did not take the retake, it will say 0 out of 12 or question mark out of 12, because students select whether they want to take a retake or not. So the ones that they have not taken are great practice tools, and even the ones they have taken are good practice tools as well. So I hope this gets you started, and please email me or feel free to call me tomorrow. But definitely come in during lunch this week, and even if you don't do too well on the retake on Thursday, we will keep working on these till the end of the year. So I hope you found this helpful, and good luck!